Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to discuss about diversity in living organism. Diversity in living world or living organisms. But before starting this video I want to state that subscribe this channel to stay updated and share this video with your needy friends. So let's start our topic, diversity in living world. So first of all we have to know that what is the meaning of this diversity. Diversity refers to variety. Diversity refers to variety. That means in our living world, that means in our earth, various types of plants and animals we are finding. We are found various types of plants, not a single type of plant we are finding. Many species of plants we are finding. Many types of animals we are finding. So this variety of living forms, this variety of plants, this variety of animals we are finding in our environment. So this is known as the variety in living world or variety in a biodiversity. Variety in biodiversity. See the term biodiversity. Bio refers to living and diversity refers to this variety. So totality of these life form, that means totality of these life forms, FRMs, totality of these life forms is known as your biodiversity. Bio refers to living and diversity refers to variety. In a particular area we are not finding a single type of species of plant, not finding a single species of animal. There are various a number of species of plants and a number of species of animals we are finding in a single particular area, and this is known as your biodiversity or diversity in living world. So there is a necessity comes to classify the living organisms, whether they are plants, whether they are animals or whatever they are. So the first scientist who classified these living organisms was Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus in 1735 first classify all living organisms in two kingdoms, kingdom Plantae and Animalia. Two kingdoms in the kingdom Plantae and kingdom Plantae Animalia. So the first classification of the living organisms was given by Carolus Linnaeus, and that was named as two kingdom classification. So the first classification was given by Carolus Linnaeus, and that is the two kingdom classification in 1735, and those two kingdoms are Plantae and Animalia. Interesting to note that Carolus Linnaeus named various plants in Latin name, and Carolus Linnaeus, this name is not the original name of the person Carolus Linnaeus. The original name of Carolus Linnaeus was Carl von Linne, Linne. Carl von Linne was the original name of the person, but he was so much involved in the naming of these plants in Latin language that he changed his original name from Carl von Linne to Latinized name, Latin language, that Carolus Linnaeus. So Carolus Linnaeus was the first person to classify the living organisms in two kingdoms, that is kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. But in this two kingdom classification there are various demerits. There are so many demerits or so many negative points of this two kingdom classification. Those are the most important demerit is fungi are included in Plantae. Fungi are included in kingdom Plantae. See, we know fungi are achlorophyllous, that means they do not have chlorophyll, they do not synthesize their own food, but still they are included in the kingdom Plantae, where all Plantae means they synthesize their own food because they have chlorophyll. So this is one demerit, that fungi did not have chlorophyll, they did not synthesize their own food, but still they are included in the kingdom Plantae. Next, another second demerit was all prokaryotes, that is all prokaryotes, irrespective of their note down with me, irrespective of their cellular organization or nutrition, placed in Plantae. See, all prokaryotes, we know that what is prokaryotes and what is the meaning of eukaryotes. Generally all prokaryotes, irrespective of their cellular organization means whether they are multicellular, whether they are unicellular, whether they are nutrition, whether they are autotrophic, they prepare their own food, whether they are heterotrophic, they depend upon other for their food. Irrespective of their cellular organization and nutrition, they all placed in Plantae. So these are some demerits, and another important demerits of two kingdom classification was euglena. Euglena is an animal which have both characters of Plantae and Animalia. It have chlorophyll. So this is a character of plants, because plants have chlorophyll for which they prepare their own food. Euglena have chlorophyll for which this euglena prepare its own food, but euglena lack chlorophyll, that means cell wall is absent in euglena. So absence of cell wall is a character of animal and presence of chlorophyll is a character of Plantae. So this euglena shows both characters of plants and animals, but this is included in plants. This is included in the kingdom Plantae. So this is another demerit. So due to these some demerits, this two kingdom classification was discarded, and another scientist, Ernest Haeckel, Ernest Haeckel, Haeckel, Ernest Haeckel in year 1866 provided another kingdom. That kingdom is named Protista, and he termed the three kingdom classification, and he coined three kingdom classification. In 1866, Ernest Haeckel included another kingdom, namely Protista, and he coined three kingdom classification instead of two kingdom classification. In this Protista kingdom, he included bacteria, protozoa, algae, fungi, etc. In this Protista kingdom, Ernest Haeckel included bacteria, protozoa, your algae, fungi, etc. So this is the three kingdom classification. But this three kingdom classification have also some demerits. After the three kingdom classification, another scientist H.F. Copeland, Herbert, H-E-R-B-E-R-T, Herbert Copeland, C-O-P-E-L-A-N-D, Herbert Copeland, in a year something, he proposed four kingdom classification. Herbert Copeland proposed four kingdom classification. In these four kingdom, he included those four kingdoms, namely Monera, M-O-N-E-R-A, Monera, Protista, Plantae and Animalia. Monera, Protista, Plantae and Animalia. So these are the four kingdoms proposed by Herbert Copeland. After three kingdom classification proposed by Ernest Haeckel, Herbert Copeland proposed four kingdom classification, where the four kingdoms are Monera, Protista, Plantae and Animalia. Originally he named Monera as Mycota, M-Y-C-H-O-T-A, Mycota, Plantae as Metaphyta and Animalia as your Metazoa. So these are early names, but Monera, Protista, Plantae and Animalia are the four kingdoms. If we remember, this is so easy to remember. So these are the four kingdoms classified by Herbert Copeland. But after this four kingdom classification, this was also rejected, and another scientist, Robert Whittaker, R.H. Whittaker, W-H-I-T-T-A-K-E-R, Robert Whittaker, in the year 1969. See, this year is easy to remember and very important to remember, because 100 years ago 1869. In 1869, the father of India, Mahatma Gandhi, was born. 1869 October 2. So if we remember 1869 as the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, father of India, then we will easy to remember 1969. So in 1969, R.H. Whittaker proposed a 5 kingdom classification. 5 kingdom classification. So R.H. Whittaker was the first person to propose 5 kingdom classification. He have some criteria. He choose some criteria or some criteria to classify these living organisms in 5 kingdoms classification. So we are going to discuss those 5 criteria in the next page, because this page is totally full of. Okay. So here is the new page. So 5 kingdom classification was proposed by R.H. Whittaker in the 1969. But what are the criteria or what are the observations he observed so that he classified these living organisms? This is very important. Try to note with me. Criteria. This is also asked in your examination very frequently. Criteria to classify. Criteria or device to classify. Classification. So what are the criteria he observed, he shows for the classification of 5 kingdom classification? The first criteria was organization of cells. Organization of cells. Organization of cells means whether the cell is a prokaryotic cell, whether the organism is a prokaryotic organism or an eukaryotic organism. So first he observed that whether it is a prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell. So first criteria which he observed was prokaryotic one or eukaryotic one. Then the next point or next criteria was complexity of body organization. Complexity. Plexity. Complexity of body organization. I hope you are noting down with me, because it is very important for your organization. Complexity of body organization. Complexity of body organization, it refers to whether the animal is unicellular or multicellular. Okay. Complexity of body organization refers to whether the animal is unicellular or multicellular, whether the animal is prokaryotic or eukaryotic. So these are some criteria we point out. These are some devices we point out through which he classified the organisms in 5 kingdoms. Then the another point is mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition refers to whether the animal prepare its own food, that means autotrophic or organism, whether the animal is autotrophic or heterotrophic. Autotrophic means the animal or the plant or the organism which prepare its own food. It does not depend upon another organisms for its food. But heterotrophs are those organisms who depends upon other for their nutrition, like we human beings or other animals, etc., which depends upon other animals. They are known as heterotrophs. But whose nutrition for those those animals who prepare their own food are known as autotrophic organisms. So these three are the most important criteria which was observed by Whittaker to classify the whole total living organisms in 5 kingdoms. So see the meaning of kingdom. What is this kingdom? Kingdom is the highest rank of a classification. Kingdom is the highest rank of classification. Kingdom is the highest rank of the classification, and Robert Whittaker, R.H. Whittaker proposed this 5 kingdom classification based on these 3 observations. First observation was organization of cell, that is whether a cell is prokaryotic one or eukaryotic one. Then complexity of body organization, whether it is a unicellular one or multicellular one. Then another is mode of nutrition, that means whether that animal prepare its own food or it depends upon other animals for its food. So depending upon these 3 criteria, he proposed 5 kingdoms, and those 5 kingdoms are namely Monera 5 kingdoms. Those 5 kingdoms are Kingdom Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Okay, so these are 5 kingdoms proposed by Whitaker: Monera, Protista, Fungi, and Plantae and Animalia. So these 5 kingdoms have their own properties. These 5 kingdoms have their own characters. We are going to discuss about these characters of these. We are going to discuss the characters of these 5 kingdoms one by one. See, if we discuss in a comparative manner, then it will easy to remember for you. See, I am writing here name of the kingdom: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Okay, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. See, first one, organization of cell. Organization of cell, we are giving heading cell organization. That means whether the cell is a prokaryotic one or eukaryotic one. Monera, all prokaryotes are included in the Monera. All prokaryotes are included in Monera. Okay, then in Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, in all these ones, from these ones, all are eukaryotes. All are eukaryotes. See, only prokaryotes are included in Monera, and in Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, all are eukaryotic organisms are included. Okay, then your complexity of body organization. Complexity of body organization. Next heading is complexity of body organization, whether they are unicellular or multicellular. See, in Monera all unicellular organisms are included. In Protista also all unicellular organisms are included, but in from Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, generally all are multicellular organisms. Okay, then comes your nutrition. The third criteria is nutrition. Nutrition, whether they are autotrophs or heterotrophs. Generally Monera are autotrophs. Autotrophs, they prepare their own food by means of photosynthesis, or by means of chemosynthesis. Photosynthesis refers to when utilization of light occurs for the preparation of food, and chemosynthesis refers to when utilization of some certain chemicals for the preparation of food. Then Protista are also autotrophs. They also prepare their food by photosynthesis or by ingestion. Ingestion means by uptaking someone's food. That is called ingestion. Then after Monera and Protista, Fungi is heterotrophs. It depends upon other for its nutrition. So fungi is heterotrophs. It generally absorb food. ABSOR, absorb food from any dead decomposers or any dead organisms, or from any living organisms also. So fungi, nutrition of fungi is heterotrophic one. Then Plantae, the nutrition of Plantae, you know, it prepare its own food due to presence of chlorophyll. So Plantae, nutrition of Plantae is autotrophic one. Then Animalia, the nutrition of Animalia, all animals are generally depends upon other for their food. That's why they are heterotrophs. So this Monera is autotrophs, Protista is autotrophs, and your Plantae are autotrophs. Excluding these three, your fungi and Animalia are heterotrophs. They depends upon other for their nutrition. Apart from these three characters, what will we write other characters? See, cell, prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell, we know those type of cell in which nuclear membrane is absent around the nucleus. Those are known as prokaryotic cell. So in these prokaryotic cell means in Monera nuclear membrane is absent. If we write your nuclear membrane, presence or absence of nuclear membrane, in Monera nuclear membrane is absent because they are prokaryotes. From Protista to Animalia, they are eukaryotes. That means a nuclear membrane is present around their nucleus. So this will be a point. Then another thing comes, their cell wall. What is the nature of cell wall? This cell wall is present in Monera except some example like mycoplasm. This cell wall is present in Monera, except one organism, that is called mycoplasma. Except mycoplasma, cell wall present in all animals included in the Monera. Then This cell wall also present in Protista. In Protista also cell wall is present. After Monera and Protista, fungi. In fungi also cell wall present and it is made up of chitin. This is very important for short question. The cell wall of fungi is generally made up of chitin. Then in Plantae, Plantae you know very well, cell wall is present in all plants. It is the outer layer of the cell wall, outer layer of the plant cell. So in Plantae, in all plants cell wall is present and it is made up of cellulose, generally cellulose. Okay, so this is very important. In fungi cell wall is made up of chitin, in Plantae cell wall is made up of cellulose, and in animals generally cell wall is absent. Okay, so this is a point. Then there another point if we discuss, their motility. Motility means whether they are movable, whether they are mobile, or they are immobile, means whether they are immotile. So in Monera both motile and immotile animals are organisms are included. Not, we cannot say animal, they are organisms, living organisms. In Monera both motile and non-motile, that means movable and immovable organisms are included. Like that in Protista also both motile and non-motile organisms are included. Then fungi and Plantae. In fungi and Plantae generally animals are non-motile. Generally non-motile. That means they are fixed to a particular place. Like plant and fungi, if you see, they are fixed to a substratum or fixed to a host cell. That's why they are immotile or immovable. Then animals. All animals are generally motile. They are moves from one place to another. That's why. Or if you say all animals are motile in some of their life stage. Motile in some of their life stage. They are motile, maybe some in larval stage they are motile, after that they will immotile. So some of their lifestyle all animals are motile. Okay, so this is another point of separation. Then another point if we discuss, then that will be a reproduction, type of reproduction. We know reproduction generally occurs by vegetative, sexual and asexual. So all Monera reproduces by asexual method only. Monera are reproduces by asexual method only. Asexual method, just like binary fission, budding, etc. And excluding Monera, all other Protista, fungi, Plantae, Animalia, all are reproduces by means of both sexual and asexual type. Both sexual and asexual type. So these are some distinguished characters of Monera to Animalia. Their type of cell, their nutrition, their cell wall, nuclear membrane, motility, reproduction, etc. Then there is shortage of space. If we write example, then this will be another characters. If in exam it will ask that write some characters, write 5 characters of Monera. So see, you can write here, all Monera are prokaryotes in nature. That means they do not have nuclear membrane around their nucleus. They are generally unicellular. They are all unicellular organisms. Their mode of nutrition is autotrophic mode of nutrition. They prepare their own food by absorbing light or by absorbing chemicals. So there may be phototrophs or chemotrophs. Then their cell wall is present except in mycoplasma. Then they are both motile and immotile organisms are included in Monera. Then their reproduction, they reproduce only by means of asexual method, etc. So there are some 1 2 3 4 5. So these are some 5 to 6 points here we are discussed about all kingdoms generally. Then if you write example, this will another point. See here, this is a shortage of space, so I am writing here in below. See here, example. I am writing example of first Monera. As we discussed, in Monera all prokaryotes are included. So example of Monera are generally bacteria. What are the examples of your prokaryotes. So you know what are the examples of prokaryotes? So bacteria, archaebacteria, ARCHAE, archaebacteria, then mycoplasma, blue green algae, etc., etc., are some examples of Monera. Then after Monera, example of Protista. Example of Protista, there are various examples of Protista starting from Plasmodium. Right, note down with me, Plasmodium. Check out the spelling, Plasmodium. Then Protozoa, Protozoa, Protozoa. Algae, ALGAE. Then Amoeba, AMOEBA, Amoeba. Then your slime molds, SLIME, slime, MOLDS, slime molds. Then diatoms, DIATOMS, diatoms. Then your euglenoids, you may write here, euglenoids, EUGLENOIDS, euglenoids. So this is in your Protista. Okay, so Monera, Protista. Then fungi, you know the some name of fungi. You are eating the most famous edible mushroom. Mushroom is the example of fungi. The edible mushroom is the button mushroom or Agaricus bisporus, MUSHRO mushroom. Then penicillium, your Agaricus, mucor, etc. Various fungi, name of the fungi you know. Write down this name in the example of fungi. Then example of Plantae and Animalia you know. From mango tree to pineapple tree, from dog to cat to human beings. Do not write your own name XYZ. Okay, try, if you write, then write Homo sapiens. Do not write your name. So these are some examples of Plantae and Animalia you can give easily, and remember these examples from Monera, Protista, fungi, etc. It will be easy to write for you. So this is the 5 kingdom classification we have discussed, but this 5 kingdom classification also its some merits and demerits. We are going to discuss in the next page. Okay, in the next page, in this blank page, we are going to discuss what are the merits. What are the merits of 5 kingdom classification? This will also ask in the question. For your examination, it is very important. The question like this, the question will come like this. Explain 5 kingdom classification. What are the criteria used to classify these kingdoms? Then write down its merits and demerits. So you have to write all these things in here, in this long question. So what are the merits of 5 kingdom classification? The first merit is it is a phylogenetic one. PHYLO. I am writing in shortcut, you write in complete sentence. It is phylogenetic one. PHYLO, genetic. It is phylogenetic. Okay. It is phylogenetic one. So what is the meaning of phylogenetic? Phylogenetic means it based on origin and evolution of organism. It based, BASED, it based on origin and evolution of organism. Okay, phylogenetic means it based on origin, from where a animal originate. What is the origin of an or animal? Evolution. Evolution means how a organism evolve, how a organism comes from. So it is a phylogenetic one. The next merit is separation of fungi. As I discussed earlier, in 2 kingdom classification also fungi are included in your Plantae, but here fungi are classified into another kingdom, separation of fungi. Separation of fungi from Plantae. Separation of fungi from Plantae is justified. If you write like this also is justified. Separation of fungi from Plantae is justified because fungi have chlorocell wall, which is other than the Plantae. Cell wall of Plantae is made up of cellulose. Cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. Plantae prepare their own food, that's why they are known as autotrophs, but fungi depends upon other for their foods, they are heterotrophs. So classification of fungi, separation of fungi from Plantae to another kingdom is justified in this 5 kingdom classification. This next, another, the third merit is separation of bacteria. BACTER. Separation of bacteria from Plantae also, separation bacteria from Plantae also. Bacteria also included in Plantae, but in 5 kingdom classification bacteria are separated to another group, that is to Monera, as we know. So separation of bacteria is also justified, another merit point. Next, the fourth merit point is separation of protozoa. Separation of protozoa. Okay, pen is also finished. Are you understanding or not? Are you watching or not? I don't know, but my pen is finished. So those who are watching this video carefully, I will sure guaranteed they must be benefited. So separation of protozoas from Animalia. Previously protozoans are included in Animalia, but in 5 kingdom classification protozoa are separated from Animalia, which is also justified. Okay, so these are some merits of 5 kingdom classification. Apart from merits, this 5 kingdom classification also have some demerits. 5 kingdom classification also some demerits. This is very important. What are the demerits of a 5 kingdom classification? So first point of demerits we are going to discuss. In some lower organisms, it does not reflect phylogenetic relation, true phylogenetic relation. Okay, in some lower organisms it does not reflect a true phylogenetic relation. So phylogenetic relation, what is I am discussed earlier, that means which is based on origin and evolution, but it only describe origin and evolution of some higher organisms, but lower organisms phylogeneration is not described properly in this 5 kingdom classification. Then the second demerit is most popular. There is no place for virus. Viruses are not included in 5 kingdom classification also. Okay, so this is another demerit point. Then the third demerit point was protists do not form a natural group. Okay, it is very interesting to know protist or protista, protists, protists do not form, protists do not form a natural group. Protists do not form a natural group as it contain where I am writing, as it contain all organisms that are not placed, organisms that are not placed in other eukaryotic, I am writing in shortcut eukaryotic, right here, eukaryotic kingdoms, in other eukaryotic kingdoms. That means those animals which are not found any place in other eukaryotic kingdoms. What are the other eukaryotic kingdoms in the 5 kingdom classification? Those are Plantae, Fungi, Animalia. Apart from Monera, Protista is a eukaryotic kingdom, but what are the other eukaryotic kingdoms? Plantae, Fungi, Animalia. So those animals which are not placed in the Plantae, Fungi and Animalia, those animals are placed in the kingdom Protista. That's why this Protista kingdom is sometimes called as garbage can of classification. That's why Protista is called as garbage can of classification. Garbage can means what? Dustbin, like dustbin. Those animals which are not found place in Plantae, those animals which not found in Fungi and Animalia, they all are included in the Protista kingdom. That's why Protista is known as garbage can or like dustbin of the classification. Those animals, those organisms who do not found any place in these 3 eukaryotic kingdoms, they placed in Protista. That's why it is known as garbage can of the classification. So these are some demerits of the 5 kingdom classification. Okay, so till now we discussed what is the 5 kingdom classification. After this 5 kingdom classification, after founding some demerits of 5 kingdom classification, another scientist, Carl Oes, Woese. Carl Oes in a year certain something year 1978. Carl Oes in 1978 split your Monera into two different kingdom. Carl Oes split Monera into two different kingdoms, that is kingdom Archaebacteria and kingdom Eubacteria. So in 1978 Carl Oes proposed 6 kingdom classification. So what are the 6 kingdoms? Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, in place of Monera. In 5 kingdom classification, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, 5 kingdoms. In place of Monera, Oes classified 2 kingdoms, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, then other 4 kingdoms are Plantae, Fungi, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Okay, so excluding this 6 kingdom classification, this Carl Oes also proposed 3 domains of life. 3 domains of life. That means 3 domain classification. Carl Oes proposed 3 domain classification. Here domains means domain is the highest rank or the rank above highest rank, or you write like domains means rank above class kingdom. Rank above kingdom. Till now we studied that kingdom is the highest ranked in the classification hierarchy. As we know, plants and animals are classified into kingdom just like that, K, P, Co, F, G, S. For animal it is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. For plants it is kingdom, division, class, order, family, genus, species. But Carl Oes proposed 3 domain classification, where domain is the not the highest ranked kingdom. Before kingdom, another highest ranked classification, another highest rank he proposed was domain. So what are the 3 domains? Those 3 domains are bacteria, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. Those 3 domains are bacteria, Archaebacteria, Archaea, Archaea. This bacteria is also known as Eubacteria, Archaebacteria and Eukarya. I am going to next page, that will be easy to understanding. Eukarya, Karya. Okay, these are the 3 domains proposed by Carl Oes above kingdom. Kingdom till before the 3 domain classification, kingdom was the highest ranked one, but after 3 domain classification, domain becomes the highest ranked in the classification hierarchy. So these 3 are 3 domains we are going to discuss in the next page. Okay, so see here I am writing 3 domains. 3 domains of life. What is domain? Meaning of domain? Domain is the rank above the kingdom. Above the kingdom rank is known as domain. So what are these 3 domains? Your first domain is bacteria or Eubacteria. Bacteria or Eubacteria. Then second domain was your Archaea, 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 and the third domain was Eukarya, Karya. So this 3 domain of life is also very important for your examination. Mark here, bacteria. In bacteria, all prokaryotic organisms. In bacteria, important, try to mark here. In bacteria, all prokaryotes who have muramic acid, mark the term, muramic acid or peptidoglycan. This acid is also known as peptidoglycan. So those prokaryotes which have muramic acid or peptidoglycan in their cell wall placed in this bacteria domain. All those prokaryotes which have muramic acid or peptidoglycan in their cell wall, that means those prokaryotes whose cell wall is made up of a peptidoglycan or muramic acid are placed in this domain, bacteria or Eubacteria. The general example of this type of bacteria whose cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan are all gram positive and gram negative bacteria. Apart from that, some blue green algae, or they are also known as cyanobacteria, and all mycoplasma, etc. So these are some examples. These are included in your bacteria domain. Okay, then comes to archaebacteria. In archaebacteria, those organisms, those prokaryotic organisms which do not have muramic acid or peptidoglycan, in their cell wall are included in archaebacteria. In archaea domain, those prokaryotes which do not have muramic acid in their cell wall are included. That means those prokaryotic organisms whose cell wall is not made up of muramic acid or peptidoglycan are placed in this archaea. Such examples are methanobacteria or methanococcus, COCCOUS. Because this bacteria is coccus shaped, that's why it is known as your methanococcus bacteria. Then your another example is methanobacteria, etc. are some examples. Okay, so these archaea are also known as, interesting to note, joker of plant kingdom, because their cell wall is not made up of peptidoglycan. That's why they are somehow known as joker of plant kingdom. Then this archaea domain is again classified into 3 kingdoms, because we know that domain is the rank above the kingdom. So this domain archaea is again classified into 3 kingdoms according to Carl Oels, and those 3 kingdoms are methanogens, another is extreme halophils, PHILs, extreme halophils, and thermoacidophils, PHILs. Holding mobile in one hand and writing in another hand is very tough. That's why it is a little bit hard for me. So try to cooperate with me and try to understand. So 3 kingdoms of archaea are methanogens, extreme halophils, and thermoacidophils. In methanogen kingdom, all those bacteria who produce methane or CH4, methane, those bacteria which produce methane are included in this methanogen kingdom. Those bacteria which produce methane, generally from whom? Generally from your carbon dioxide and hydrogen. Those bacteria who produce methane from carbon dioxide and hydrogen, that means anaerobically, because anaerobically means oxygen is not utilized. That means carbon dioxide and hydrogen, by carbon dioxide and hydrogen utilizing, those bacteria who produce methane are included in this kingdom, methanogens. Then extreme halophils refers to salty or saline environment. Those environment which can survive in extreme saline environment, that means salty environment. Okay, saline environment. Those bacteria which survive in saline environment, extreme saline environment, are included in these extreme halophils. They are also anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic means for their respiration oxygen is not required. You know what is respiration? Breaking down of large molecules into carbon dioxide and water, etc. to small molecules is known as respiration. So if oxygen is not required, then that type of respiration is called anaerobic respiration. So they are also anaerobic bacteria. Then thermoacidophils means they can survive in hot acidic medium. They can also survive in hot acidic medium. So that's why they are known as like thermo refers to temperature, acidophils refers to survive in the acidic medium. They are generally facultative or obligate anaerobies. Facultative means 50-50. Sometimes they require oxygen, sometimes they does not require oxygen. Facultative. And obligate means 100% anaerobic bacteria. Okay, so these are the 3 kingdoms under archaea. Then we are going to discuss eukarya. In eukarya, all eukaryotes are included. In eukarya, all eukaryotes are included. All eukaryotes are included in this domain eukarya. Then this eukarya domain is again divided into 4 kingdoms. 4 kingdoms, and those 4 kingdoms are Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, and another is Protista. So their characters we already discussed in the previous one. The character we discussed previous one are also the same as the character here. So Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, Protista are the 4 kingdoms here in the eukarya kingdom. 4 kingdoms in the eukarya domain. Okay. So this is the things we discussed in cell. Another you write another point. You write in Animalia the reserve food is your what? Glycogen. In Plantae your reserve food is your what? Starch. Okay. So this is another point you may write.